Have you ever heard of a weapon that could end the world? During the frostiest period of the Cold War, such a chilling concept was more than just a dystopian fantasy. It was a terrifying reality under development. This was the era of Project Sundial. In those tense times, the rivalry between superpowers reached a fever pitch as each aimed to outdo the other in a deadly game of brinkmanship. The idea of a weapon so destructive that it wouldn't need to be dropped, but simply activated to obliterate life within a 400-kilometer radius, emerged from this competitive cauldron. Project Sundial was the embodiment of this concept, a doomsday device that threatened to set the world ablaze and plunge humanity into an abyss of darkness. This wasn't just a bomb, it was a catastrophic apocalypse in waiting. Project Sundial was not just a bomb, but a catastrophic apocalypse in waiting. In the high-stakes game of the Cold War, the United States sought to hold the ultimate ace. The inception of Project Sundial was born out of this intense desire for dominance. As the world was split in two by the ideological divide of capitalism and communism, the United States was looking for a way to ensure its victory in the event of nuclear war. This led to the conception of a weapon so devastating that its mere existence would bring the enemy to their knees. Conceived in the early 1960s, Project Sundial was a chilling embodiment of the Cold War's paranoia and desperation. The purpose of this clandestine project was as audacious as it was terrifying: to create a bomb so powerful it wouldn't need to be dropped. Instead, it would be detonated on American soil, creating a firestorm that would engulf a radius of 400 kilometers, annihilating everything in its path. The scientists behind Project Sundial were some of the brightest minds of their generation. Yet they were tasked with creating a nightmare. Men like Dr. Edward Teller, often referred to as the father of the hydrogen bomb, and Dr. Andrei Sakharov, the so-called father of the Soviet hydrogen bomb, lent their intellect to this terrifying endeavor. They worked under the belief that the perfect deterrent was a weapon so destructive its use would mean the end of civilization as we knew it. This was the paradox of the Cold War. The quest for peace meant preparing for the most devastating war imaginable. The creation of such a weapon would change the rules of engagement forever. It would not be a bomb, but an apocalypse, a nightmare made real by the hands of men. The creation of Project Sundial was a horrifying testament to the lengths nations would go to ensure dominance. It was a chilling reminder of the destructive power humanity could unleash when driven by fear and the desire to control. Above all, it was a stark warning of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the dire consequences of a world on the brink of nuclear annihilation. How devastating could a sundial bomb have been? This is not a question to be taken lightly. The sundial bomb represented a nightmare scenario, a doomsday device that could have changed the world as we know it. Imagine a bomb with the power to incinerate a 400-kilometer radius. That's not just a city or a region. We're talking about a space comparable to an entire small country. Picture the landscape of Belgium or the entirety of Switzerland reduced to ashes in an instant. The intensity of the blast, the heat, the shockwave, all combining to wipe everything within its reach off the face of the earth. But the immediate destruction is only part of the story. The sundial bomb wouldn't just have erased cities and towns, it would have left a lasting legacy of devastation. The fallout from such a blast would have been catastrophic. Radioactive particles would have been scattered across the globe, contaminating the air, the water, the soil. The long-term environmental effects would have been profound and potentially irreversible. The world would have been plunged into a nuclear winter, a period of abnormal cold and darkness, resulting from the soot and dust thrown up into the atmosphere by the explosion. Crops would fail, ecosystems would collapse, and countless species, including potentially our own, would face extinction. The sundial bomb was not merely a weapon. It was an apocalypse in a canister, a ticking time bomb that threatened not just human life, but all life on this planet. This was a device that could have turned day into night, summer into winter, life into death. In the grand scheme of things, the sundial bomb was a stark reminder of the sheer destructive capability of human ingenuity, a chilling testament to the lengths we are willing to go in the name of power and control. The sundial bomb would have been a death sentence for humanity and the planet. We cannot and must not forget the lessons it has taught us. But what would have happened if the sundial bomb was actually used? This question sends shivers down our spines, and rightfully so. The sundial bomb was more than a weapon, it was a death sentence for the planet. Had it been used, the political landscape would have been irrevocably changed. Nations would have been wiped off the map, and with them, their histories, cultures, and peoples. In the aftermath, the global community would have been thrust into a state of chaos and fear, with trust among nations likely shattered beyond repair. Retaliation would have been almost certain. Other nations, threatened by the power of Sundial, would have launched their own arsenals, leading to a domino effect of destruction. The Cold War would have turned hot, and the world would have been embroiled in a nuclear conflict of unprecedented scale. But the devastation wouldn't have stopped there. The Sundial bomb's blast would have triggered what's known as a nuclear winter. The sky would have darkened as smoke and soot from the fires blocked out the sun. Temperatures would have plummeted, crops would have failed, and famine would have swept the globe. The world as we know it would have been plunged into a long, bitter winter, from which recovery would have been uncertain if not impossible. And then there's the long-term impact on global health and ecosystems. A nuclear detonation of this magnitude would have spread radioactive fallout across the planet. Cancer rates would have skyrocketed, generations would have suffered from birth defects, entire species would have been wiped out, and ecosystems would have collapsed. The Sundial bomb was a terrifying concept, but its potential consequences were even more horrifying. It was not just a bomb, it was a harbinger of global catastrophe. It served as a dark reminder of the destructive potential of human invention, a potential that we must always strive to control and contain. So, let us remember the Sundial bomb not as a symbol of power, but as a chilling warning from history. The Sundial bomb was more than a weapon, it was a trigger to a global catastrophe. So, what happened to Project Sundial? Well, the end of this terrifying endeavor didn't come with a bang, but rather, with the cold realization of what its success might entail. The sheer destructive potential of the Sundial bomb was a wake-up call for those involved in its creation. Imagine a weapon that wouldn't just win a war but could potentially wipe out civilization as we know it. The realization that they were flirting with the apocalypse was a sobering thought, to say the least. However, it wasn't just the horrifying implications of the bomb's power that led to its abandonment. The international community also played a significant role. As word of the project began to seep out, the global outcry was deafening. Nations around the world united in their condemnation, putting enormous pressure on those at the helm to halt the project. Diplomacy had a crucial role to play, with negotiations, treaties, and international cooperation becoming the weapons of choice in a bid to avert disaster. The decision to abandon Project Sundial didn't come easily. It was a grueling process, fraught with tension and uncertainty. But in the end, the collective voice of reason prevailed over the drumbeats of war. The project was shelved, the plans mothballed, and the world breathed a collective sigh of relief. But as we look back at this chilling chapter in human history, it's crucial not to forget the lessons it taught us. Project Sundial stands as a stark reminder of the lengths to which fear, competition, and rivalry can push us. It's a testament to the dark paths humanity can tread when driven by these forces. We must remember that the power to destroy is insignificant compared to the power to preserve and foster life. As we move forward, let's strive to wield our knowledge and resources to create a world that is safe, peaceful, and prosperous for all. Project Sundial remains a chilling reminder of the dark paths humanity can tread when driven by fear and rivalry. What can we learn from the terrifying tale of Project Sundial? Project Sundial serves as a stark reminder of the destructive potential that lies within human innovation. Born out of a time of intense fear and mistrust, it symbolizes the dark side of our technological prowess. But it also underscores the value of restraint. Despite its terrifying possibilities, Project Sundial was never realized, thanks to diplomatic efforts and the collective decision to prioritize peace over annihilation. This historical event underscores the importance of global cooperation and diplomacy in preempting the creation of such catastrophic weapons. It's a lesson to us all. The power to invent does not necessarily mandate the need to create. We must always weigh the potential consequences of our actions and strive to use our skills and knowledge for the betterment of humanity rather than its destruction. As we look back at Project Sundial, we are reminded that the power to destroy is never as important as the wisdom to preserve.